I'm Jane.
And I'm John.
And we're Bucket List Travellers.
Welcome to our Montenegro travel vlog, where we're taking you on a walking tour of Kotor, Montenegro. Kotor Old Town is a beautiful city and it's one of the most popular destinations in Montenegro.
Right in front of us are Kotor's fortifications. If you look right at the top of the screen, you'll be able to see a little bit of St. Giovanni's fort. So there's a fortress right up
Right up on the hillside.
right up at the top of the town. There are 1,300 steps to get up there, and you need a little bit of fitness to get up there, but it's certainly well worth it. You get amazing views over the Bay of Kotor and the city of Kotor. It's just really, really pretty.
And I really love the colour of the water here. So you can even see just in the moat around the castle fortifications, the blues of the water are just stunning.
Yeah, it's very vivid, isn't it? And so now we're just walking through the south gate. Now this gate is the oldest gate of the city, and parts of it were first built in the 9th century. However, the gate as you see it today and the surrounding fortifications were built around the year 1470.
Yeah, and you can actually walk up onto the fortifications, so you can see some stairs off to the left there. Really nice views from there, and it's free to go up to the fortifications, which is really nice.
Yeah, and so the town walls extend for about 3 miles or 4.5 kilometres, and they range in thickness from about 7 to 50 feet. So that's 2 to 15 metres. They get pretty thick.
We came to Kotor at kind of the shoulder season, more the start of the busy period. Yeah, so that was in May, and we were starting to see cruise ships, but it is a very popular destination for cruise ships. So how many cruise ships are there a year?
Yeah, so just prior to the pandemic in 2019, there were 490 cruise ships that entered Montenegro, and it's fair to say a majority of these would have hit Kotor.
Sometimes there's 2 or 3 cruise ships that come in all at once. So it's really interesting to see. If you do stay overnight, you'll see like hordes of people coming in, and then at night it'll just be pretty empty. So
Yeah, it's crazy throughout the day. They probably leave around 4 in the afternoon. So yeah, there's a marked difference in the feel of the town with and without the tourists.
yeah, and there's a lot of things to do around the area in Kotor. So you don't have necessarily everyone just going to the old town. There's also a really pretty city nearby called Perast. We went there on a day trip from Kotor, and that was really lovely. And there are hop on and hop off buses, so you can get around to places nearby quite easily. The Bay of Kotor is really lovely, and there's all sorts of restaurants all along the bay, which is really nice.
Yeah.
And you can actually swim in the Bay of Kotor, so that's a really nice thing to do. There are a few beaches in both directions from Kotor. Really lovely thing to do.
Yeah.
Kotor's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it's actually been double listed.
Yeah, so it's been dubbed the Natural and Cultural Historical Region of Kotor, and it's also a UNESCO heritage listed because it formed part of the Venetian works of defence during the 16th and 17th centuries.
Yeah, so it's got quite an interesting history, and you can really feel that when you're walking through the streets of the town.
Now we're at the back of the Cathedral of St. Tryphon. Now this church is the biggest attraction in town, and it was built way back in 1166. Now, it was built on the site of an earlier church that was built way back in, I believe, 809. So it's very ancient, and I believe the patron saint of the city is St. Tryphon, and his remains are still in the church to this day.
St. Tryphon is revered in the Eastern Orthodox Church. However, St. Tryphon's church is one of the 2 Catholic churches in the city of Kotor.
St. Tryphon is the patron saint of the town of Kotor. He's known as the patron saint of gardeners and wine growers. So he's also revered throughout this part of Europe, so in Serbia, North Macedonia and Bulgaria as well.
Yeah, so wine growing is very popular in this region. The soil's quite good for it. So wine growing is very popular in this region. So if you do like your wine, then you'll be in heaven here.
As you can see, the town of Kotor is quite a labyrinth, so there's quite small passageways. And look, it is a small town, so you can't get too lost. It's a little fun in a way, going through all the little nooks and crannies of the town. There's plenty to explore, so that you'll find antique shops, you'll find souvenir shops, you'll find heaps of nice restaurants.
It's a really nice place to walk around and just admire the scenery, isn't it?
Yeah, and the sandstone architecture hails back from the Venetian period where Venice controlled the town. So Venice controlled the town from the 1400s up to the late 1700s. Kotor asked the Republic of Venice for protection against the ongoing threat of the Ottoman Empire.
So we're now in the square in front of St Tryphon's Cathedral, and we're viewing the cathedral from the front. So as you can see, it's a really beautiful cathedral.
And off to the left of the cathedral, you can see another landmark of the town. That's the palace of the Drago family. So the Drago family were a powerful family that owned the palace from the 16th to the 17th centuries. And the family had a really strong influence over the town during that period.
Yeah, so a lot of famous people came to the city due to this family, and they came from a cross-section of society, so from cultural figures to political figures, and it really helped shape the city at the time. So if you enjoy shopping and looking at all the little stores around the city, there's a lot to do which will keep you entertained for a relaxing morning or afternoon. There's a lot of cafes and restaurants here. I really like all the little charming shops. You can definitely get a lot of nice souvenirs here. There's a couple of stores that have really pretty colourful lanterns, which is really nice to go in, and even if you're just window shopping, definitely bring some spending money while you're here, because you'll be able to find some really great souvenirs here.
Yeah, and if you do come in on a cruise here, we also recommend that you get outside the old town as well. There are plenty of amazing restaurants just dotted along the Bay of Kotor, and the Bay of Kotor itself is so beautiful and picturesque.
It's spectacular.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we were driving into the Bay of Kotor on the bus, we came here from Dubrovnik, Croatia. It's only a couple of hours drive away, and just coming into that bay, it's just so spectacular. You've got the water in the center, which is just this vibrant like turquoise color, and then you've got these sheer cliffs either side which just surround the bay and the city of Kotor. It's really breathtaking.
The building directly in front of us now is the Maritime Museum. It shares a lot of the marine history of the area.
There's a few different museums in the city of Kotor if you're interested in museums and cultural experiences. There's even a cat museum, which we'll show you a little bit later on. The cats of Kotor are very popular. You can see cats all around the city. They're very well looked after, and cats really are a symbol of the city. There's cat stores, there's a cat museum, there's Cat Square. You can see the cats have their own little houses in that square, and you can go and pat them, and yeah, it's really nice to just see them well looked after.
So if you're someone like me thinking, where did all these cats come from? Apparently, when the sailors came back home from various shipping expeditions, they typically had cats with them. And
I guess it would have been to control the mice population on board or something
potentially.
like that.
And also because Kotor's a town between the sea and mountains, there were lots of mice, rats and snakes even in the area, so it wasn't necessary to have the cats in the town to protect it.
Oh, that's really interesting. So, yeah, I always think of people as being protectors of cats, but cats were also protectors of people. So, nice little symbiotic relationship there.
Yeah, and cats have actually become a good luck symbol for Montenegro, I believe.
Oh, that's really great. So this beautiful church here is one of the most iconic churches in the city. This is St. Nicholas Church. It's a Serbian Orthodox church.
Yeah, and this church was built between 1902 and 1909. There was a previous church on this site that was built earlier from 1810. However, it was burnt down on Christmas Eve of all days. Burnt down in a fire, unfortunately.
What they've replaced it with is absolutely beautiful. So yeah, definitely check out the churches when you're in Kotor. So St. Nicholas Church was free to enter. Some of the other churches have a small entry fee.
So in the design of the city, you've got some big squares that open out just like the one in front of us, in addition to the small walkway. So it's a nice balance.
Yeah, so as you can see, there are a lot of tourists here at the moment. This isn't even like the peak of it. When the cruise ships come into town, it does get quite busy. It's a very popular location for just taking lots of photos because you've got all of those beautiful sandstone buildings, all of these different interesting alleyways. And now we're walking into the bazaar.
The Kotor Bazaar is somewhere where you can get all your souvenirs. So there are shoes, there are sunglasses, there are clothes, and also little trinkets that you can take home to your family.
Yep, and jewellery as well if you're interested in that. So it's really a nice area to browse around. And this used to be, was it an old cloister of the monastery or something like that?
So the bazaar was made out of the abandoned cloister of the monastery.
It's good that they've repurposed this space, and it's a really nice space for having some retail therapy.
Yeah. We hope you're enjoying our Kotor walking tour so far, and if you're new to our channel, welcome. We have a range of walking tours like these, as well as travel guides and food vlogs of all our travels around the world. So we have a bucket list goal of getting to 100 countries before we die. So if you want to join us on our travels, then make sure you subscribe and hit the notification button. So as you can see in here and the surrounding area, there are a lot of people. Just a few more stats on tourism in Montenegro. So in 2019, before the pandemic, there were 2.5 million visitors to Montenegro, and that was up from a little bit over 1 million visitors back in 2009. So Montenegro has experienced a big explosion in tourist growth. There's no surprises why. It's just Kotor in particular is such a charming, beautiful space to explore.
And it is quite a nice stop on the Adriatic Sea. You do have Croatia right next door. You're not too far from Greece as well, which is another European hotspot. Yeah, so it's really popular with, and to put it into perspective, Kotor is home to only around 13,000 people. So that is quite a big impact having all those tourists come in.
Yeah, and up until July 2022, Kotor has experienced 250,000 visitors this year, which is pretty crazy.
So we mentioned previously that there was a cat museum. That is it right here, the Kotor Cats Museum. So if you're interested in your feline friends, that's definitely the place to go. There is an entry fee associated with that, and the entry fee is €1. So if you want to know what to eat in the many cafes of Kotor, there are plenty of options for you. We're right on the water here, so fish and seafood is very, very popular.
Yeah, the mussels are really good.
Yeah, definitely. And there's also a lot of regional specialties as well.
Yeah, so there's the Naguski steak, which is like a steak with prosciutto and cheese. It's really, really delicious.
Oh, yeah, that was one of our favourites. So we had that a couple of times. Yeah, very, very good. Apart from local food, you can also get pizza and pasta and burgers and that sort of thing. Lots of different food options. All of the food's really delicious around here and pretty affordable as well. So now we're coming up to one of the most popular areas in Kotor, which is the Square of the Arms, and it is also where you can find the clock tower.
So the square was named Square of the Arms since Venetian times because this is where munitions were stored. These days you can find all manner of stores, banks, cafes, bakeries, pastry shops, and a number of historical monuments, and in particular the clock tower. So the clock tower was built in the early 17th century, 1602 in fact.
Yeah, and it's a Baroque style tower.
And at the bottom of the tower, you can see what's known as the Pillar of Shame. So I believe that's where citizens who have done a crime had to be tied up there and
serve their penance.
Yeah.
Interesting way to punish people.
Yeah. So now we're heading out through the Sea Gate. This is the main gate into the city of Kotor. This little mural that you see in front of us is St. Mary with St. Tryphon and St. Bernard on either side.
The Sea Gate will be probably the gate that you walk through if you come to Kotor by cruise ship, so you can see a cruise ship out the front there. This gate was built in the 16th century, and above it is a plaque which has a quotation by a famous person called Tito.
Tito was the general who liberated Kotor from the Nazis and later became the Yugoslavian president. And so the plaque translates to, what belongs to others we don't want, what is ours we will never surrender.
Wise words. So we hope you've enjoyed our walking tour of Kotor, Montenegro. If you did, please give it a like and leave us a comment. We are Bucket List Travellers.
See you next time.